Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. How do I do it? Now I have this fun tip for you about how to make a toy car with a plastic bottle that, apart from everything else, moves on its own. It is super easy to make, and the best of all is that it will cost us almost nothing because most of everything is with materials that we are going to recycle. It is an ideal project to do with the little ones because then they will know how things work and that they can create them from scratch. So let's see what we are going to need to do it. We are going to need 2 plastic bottles of 600 milliliters, or in this case 1 liter. Some scissors, a knife, a screwdriver or some metal to heat and make the holes, a plastic band to hold the rubber bands, the silicone gun, some wooden sticks that can also be used as skewers for food, 4 caps from the same bottles, a plastic card or some similar hard plastic, 6 preferably thin rubber bands, and finally a marker that is totally optional. Now let's see how it's done. We take the bottle we have, and if it is like this, we just make sure that one of the spouts, so to speak, is facing up as I show it to you, since we will use that later. Then we take the marker if you prefer and mark the entire contour that we are going to cut. Don't mark it so low because the structure of the bottle loses strength, just like what happened to me, but I corrected in the end. The point is to mark a rectangle on top of how we have the bottle to access it later. Once marked, we just take the razor and make an incision and then use scissors to cut the entire contour as even as we can. It doesn't have to be exact, but it is to give them a better finish. Once cut, it should look more or less like this. Now we take the marker again and mark the points where we will make the holes for the tire axles to enter. Since this bottle is not so flat, we have to make the holes as close to the bottom as possible, as can be seen on the screen. We mark the rear ones in the same way, and once they are more or less aligned and where we want them, we take the previously heated screwdriver and proceed to make the holes in the points we marked. It depends on the thickness of the stick they are using. This is how the hole should be in this case. Since it is a little thicker than the screwdriver, I make it a little bigger when I am drilling it, taking advantage of the heat of the metal. The point is that between the stick where the tires are going to be and that it has freedom of movement and does not get stuck when turning. We do the same with the ones at the back, making sure that there is enough space for the stick that we are going to put in. Once finished, our car is taking shape and will look more or less like the one seen in the video. Now we take the caps that will be the tires of our car, and with the hot screwdriver we are going to make a hole in the center of each of them. Don't make this big because it has to be as tight as possible so that they don't come off or separate from the stick. Then we take the axles that we previously cut and insert them into each of the covers so that the hole is the exact width. It may take a little work to get them in, but that's okay because we want it to be as fair as possible. Once inserted and in the position we want, we just grab the silicone gun and put it all around the stick so that it is fixed to the cover, just as I show you. We do the same with the other axis. Insert the cover, adjust to the position we want and fix it in place with the silicone. We grab our bottle and put the axles into it, and we put the other lid on the stick. We arrange it until the position that we believe is ideal, and once it is on we just take the scissors and cut the excess of the stick so that it is the size we want. As shown in the video, we grab the other axis and do exactly the same. We put the other lid in, arrange it in the position we want, and then cut off the excess with scissors. Once we have done this, we just take the silicone gun and fix the rims that we just put on just as we did with the previous ones, putting the silicone all around the stick so that it is fixed to the cover. Since we finished doing this, now it looks like a cart that we can use, but we need to put what will make it walk on its own. To do this we take the other previously cut plastic bottles, since we only need the top part as can be seen on the screen. We take the scissors, and in this case we are only going to make some cuts following the lines marked on the bottle. If not, just calculate making each one a feeling around the entire circumference of it, and once we have made all the cuts, we just bend them outwards as I show them to you. When we have folded them all, it will look like this. Now all that remains is to make a small bend in all the strips so that they look like the blades of a fan and can push the air better. Once finished, it should look something like this. Now we take the cover of our propeller and, as with the others, we make a hole in it with the hot screwdriver. Remember not to make it too big because the stick that we are going to put in has to fit exactly. Taking advantage of the fact that the screwdriver is hot, we take the plastic card and make a hole of the same size in it and set aside. We take a stick about the length of the bottle and put it in the lid in the same way as with the tires. Once we have it in the position we want it, we grab the silicone gun and fix it in the same way to the lid so that it remains fixed. We put this one on both sides so that it doesn't move at all, and we just let it dry for a few minutes. We take the marker and mark a circle around the hole we made in the plastic card. We take the scissors and cut inside the line very carefully, since we only want a small circle that will serve as a stop so that our propeller can rotate. Once we have it cut, we just put it on the stick we have and leave it about 4 centimeters from the cover. We do this so that we have space to be able to grab it with our fingers, as I will show you in a moment. Once it is in the desired position, we only fix it with silicone, but only at the top, as you can see in the video. Then we just screw the cover onto the propeller we had made, and if necessary we bend the plastic strips again so that it fits better. We grab our cart and with the hot screwdriver we make a hole in the back, at the tip that I had mentioned at the beginning. Make sure you do it at the base of the bottle so that our propeller can spin better. We put this in and measure more or less to the middle of the bottle, and that is where we will cut the stick with the scissors. Once we have cut it, we take our knife and on the tip of this stick we carve, making a V shape so that the rubber bands can be better gripped without them coming loose. It should look more or less like this. Now we put the stick with the propeller back in and take 3 rubber bands and the plastic band that we are going to adjust beforehand so that it is easier to tighten it with one hand. If you have someone to help you, it will be much easier. But if not, do it with a lot of patience and don't despair. We tighten the headband as much as we can so that the rubber bands are firmly attached, and once we have done it, we only cut the excess of it with the scissors so that it can rotate without problems. We take 3 other rubber bands and we are going to tie them to each of the ones we just fixed. Just put a rubber band on one of them and turn it and put it back in and adjust until they are perfectly tied, just as you see on the screen. Do the same with the remaining 2, and once you're done it should look more or less like this. Now we just remove the cap from our main bottle and we are going to pass the rubber bands through the mouth of the bottle. Here you can do it with a hook to make it easier for you to get them all out. But you can also do it with your hands just like I do. Also, be patient and do not despair. Since we managed to get them to the other side, just pull it enough so that they are very tense, and now the slightly complicated part. Take the bottle cap and try to screw it on with everything in the rubber bands. You may have a hard time getting it in, but just try to push as hard as possible to get some of it in. And then just try to screw it all the way in so that the rubber bands have no chance of coming off. And so you have something similar to what I show you on the screen. Now we just spin the stick with the propeller as if to make it sound. Do it as far as possible, and once you have done it, just release it and it should move forward on its own, propelled by the air pushed by the propeller as seen on the screen. As you can see, it works very well, and depending on the rope you give it or the inclination of the floor where you are, you will be able to have a lot of fun with your children, nephews or grandchildren for a long time. Whether it's running around or to get to a specific point, or even to play target shooting by throwing some glasses or something similar. Anyway, whatever occurs to you. So, as you could see, with just some plastic bottles, a stick and some rubber bands, we can make these amazing carts that, as you can see on the screen, can be made in different sizes depending on the bottle you have. But the best thing about this project is that we teach the little ones to recycle in a fun way, and that they use their minds to create something that they can use to play, and at the same time they learn how things work. So there is no excuse for you not to spend time with the little ones at home doing this project that children and adults will enjoy. As you already know, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share with all your family, friends and acquaintances. Thanks for watching, and I hope you liked this advice. As always, see you in the next videos. Thank you.